Could what happened at a track meet 25 years ago help investigators in their search for missing Cherry Mahan? Target 11 travels to Michigan to track down a brand new lead in the case.
Live, local, late breaking. This is Channel 11 News. News coverage you can count on.
She vanished 26 years ago, but tonight Target 11 has uncovered a new lead in the Cherry Mahan case, and it's a surprising one. The 8-year-old girl got off her school bus and was never seen again.
But Target 11 investigator Rick Earl has learned that police are now interested in getting DNA from a woman to see if she may be the missing girl. This information took Rick from Butler County, where Cherry Mahan disappeared, all the way to the state of Michigan. And Rick, we understand you've been working on this for the past 2 months now.
That's right, David. A long time indeed. State police are now taking this very seriously. In fact, they just told Cherry Mahan's mom about this new lead today. This tip led us all the way to Michigan. Right off the bat, I want to say the woman says she's not Cherry Mahan. But tonight, police have a lot of questions and interviews to do, bringing this case right back to life after all these years. 8-year-old Cherry Mahan was last seen getting off a school bus near her home in Cabot on February 22, 1985. Witnesses said she may have gotten into a blue van with a skier mural painted on the side. She hasn't been seen since. Or has she? State police tell us they are now tracking a possible sighting of the girl that happened months after she vanished. That girl is now a woman living in a small Michigan community. Target 11 traveled to that town in Michigan to track down the source of that information.
I couldn't answer that for sure. I certainly wish I could help you.
After finding the woman who claims she may have seen Cherry Mahan, we asked her many times about what she could remember about that possible sighting so long ago. She was vague at first, but then the interview took a strange turn.
If you shut that off, I'll tell you something.
Okay. We did, and it starts with her claim that she saw a van at a high school track meet matching the description of the van in Cherry's case. Sometime after that track meet, she saw a flyer of missing Cherry Mahan in the store. She called the number on the flyer, left a message, but never heard back. She was so concerned that she tracked down Cherry's mom and even called her. That was all 26 years ago, but only now the details are emerging of her elaborate story. And police tell us they'll look into everything in their new search. We took all of our information we learned on our interviews to state police, showed them pictures and video last week. They tell us they get calls and emails about sightings periodically, but in this case, the main thing they want now is evidence, and that means DNA. That would definitely rule out any connection between this woman in Michigan and Cherry Mahan.
It's very interesting, and you know, there's questions that have been posed to us that we need to find the answers to. So we'll work as quickly as we can to get those answers.
Now, we called Cherry Mahan's mom several times but never heard back from her. Police tell me they met with her for 2 hours today and told her all about the new lead they are now investigating. I asked how she was doing. Investigators said not well. Of course, we will continue to stay out on front of this major developing story. For now, reporting live, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
Wow, can you imagine after all those years if this lead actually pans out?
Reason for hope. Could be big. All right, Rick, thanks. And more details now on the Cherry Mahan case. The little girl was one of the first to be featured on Have You Seen Me direct mail advertisements. The case also has received a lot of national attention over the years, including an appearance on CNN as recently as this past January. Right now, our web editors are posting the history of Cherry Mahan and this Cherry Mahan case along with Rick's story on WPXI.com. You can go right to the homepage to read more about it.
It's a Target 11 exclusive.
A new clue and a 26-year-old mystery. Right now, it's 6.
Target 11 is tracking a brand new lead in the search for Cherry Mahan. Our investigation brings us to this small town in rural Michigan.
Live, local, late breaking. This is Channel 11 News. News coverage you can count on.
Ever since an 8-year-old girl vanished 26 years ago, police have wondered what she would look like today. They even released this age-enhanced photo. Suddenly, this cold case is getting police attention.
Target 11 investigator Rick Earl has uncovered a new lead, and investigators are working on it right now. It has taken him to Michigan and back. Rick, how is this tip different from so many others?
Well, Peggy, this is different because police tell me they not only want to talk to a woman who's now living in northern Michigan, but they say they are very interested in a sample of her DNA to see if she's in any way connected to Cherry Mahan. Now, we tracked down this woman. She tells us she's not Cherry Mahan, but tonight's police have a lot of questions. Investigators are hoping scenic northern Michigan may hold the clue to Cherry Mahan's disappearance. State police in Butler County tell Target 11 they are now hoping to get DNA from a woman there to rule out any possibility that she may in fact be the missing girl. This startling new development comes after another woman in rural Michigan claims she was at a high school track meet years ago and spotted a blue van with a mural on the side, similar to the one seen when Cherry Mahan vanished from in front of her cabin home 26 years ago. Target 11 traveled to Michigan and tracked down the source of that information. On camera, the woman who claims she may have seen Cherry revealed very little about her encounter 26 years ago. But then the interview took a strange turn.
If you shut that off, I'll tell you something.
Okay. We turned the camera off, and the woman then told us an elaborate story how she saw the van and a man with a young child matching Cherry's description. Sometime after that track meet, she saw a flyer of missing Cherry Mahan in the store. She called the number on the flyer, left a message, but never heard back. She was so concerned that she tracked down Cherry's mom and even called her. We took our information to the lead investigators in the case. Police tell me they are now looking into the woman's claims about spotting the van. And investigators say they are also very interested in talking to the other woman and obtaining DNA from her to see if there's any connection to the case involving missing Cherry Mahan.
It's very interesting, and there's questions that have been posed to us that we need to find the answers to. So we'll work as quickly as we can to get those answers.
And state police tell me they met with Cherry Mahan's mom for a couple of hours today and filled her in on all of the new developments. I asked how she was doing. State police tell me not well. Of course, we will continue to stay out in front on this major story and bring you any new developments as they come in. Reporting live, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
All right, thanks so much, Rick. Police have checked out other leads in Texas and Buffalo, New York in recent years. You can take a look at this case history on WPXI.com. We're also putting Rick's news stories online for you to see.
She vanished 26 years ago, but tonight, Target 11's uncovered a new lead in the Cherry Mahan case in Michigan. And since then, we've learned the police have obtained DNA from Mahan's mother. Target 11 investigator Rick Earl went to Michigan to discover why police think Cherry could be alive.
Scenic northern Michigan. Could this pristine setting hold the key to Cherry Mahan's disappearance? In a big new development in the case, state police say they are hoping to obtain DNA from a woman who lives here to see if she may be the missing girl. Target 11 has researched the tip and talked to the woman. She says she's not Cherry Mahan, but police say they still have a lot of questions.
It's very interesting, and there's questions that have been posed to us that we need to find the answers to. So we'll work as quickly as we can to get those answers.
This startling revelation comes after a Michigan woman claims she saw a van matching the description of a van seen where Mahan disappeared 26 years ago. Target 11 traveled to Michigan and tracked down the source of this information.
I couldn't answer that for sure. I certainly wish I could help you.
We questioned the woman who claimed she spotted the van, but she revealed very little with the camera rolling. Then the interview took a surprising turn.
If you shut that off, I'll tell you something.
Okay. She told us an elaborate story about the van and a man with a young girl who resembled Cherry Mahan. She said the encounter happened at a track meet about 26 years ago, just months after Mahan disappeared from a bus stop in front of her Butler County home. Sometime after that track meet, she saw a flyer of missing Cherry Mahan in the store. She called the number on the flyer, left a message, but never heard back. She was so concerned that she tracked down Cherry's mom and even called her. We took all of the information along with photos and videos to state police. They confirmed Monday that they are now looking into the woman's claims about spotting the van and the child. And they also tell Target 11 they would like to get a DNA sample from the woman now living in northern Michigan to see if there's any connection to the case.
Everyone here is committed to bringing this case to a good conclusion, whatever it may be, but we want to get it resolved.
State police tell me they still get plenty of tips like this one and they check them all out. Investigators also tell me they met with Cherry Mahan's mom to fill her in on all of the latest developments. I asked how she was taking news of the brand new lead. Investigators would only say she's not doing well. Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
And you can learn more about the history of the Cherry Mahan case along with Rick's story on our website, WPXI.com. You can go right there to the homepage and read more about it.
Police have a new lead in the Cherry Mahan case. Target 11 broke the story.
Now I'm talking to Cherry's mother.
The hardest part is the not knowing.
Live, local, late breaking. This is Channel 11 News. News coverage you can count on.
Every picture I see, every time somebody thinks that they're her, I want it to be her.
Cherry Mahan's mother reacts to the new lead in the case of her missing daughter. Target 11 broke the news yesterday of that new lead.
Police investigating a tip that Cherry Mahan may be alive, and now we're learning how her mother is helping. Target 11 today, he's here to tell us what he's learned. Rick?
But Peggy, police tell me they are aggressively working this tip, trying to get an answer fast. Now, just yesterday, they got DNA from Cherry Mahan's mom, and they are still interested in DNA from a woman in Michigan to rule out any possible connection. Today, I sat down with Cherry's mom to talk about this new lead.
Nobody would ever understand the heartache, the pain, the not knowing,
An emotional Janice McKinney fights back the tears as she talks about the new lead in the case. She says she's not getting her hopes too high. She's been there before.
Every time somebody thinks that they're her, I want it to be her. But I'm to the point now I just need hard facts. I need somebody to prove to me that this is her or it isn't her.
McKinney may get the hard facts soon. She met with police Monday, gave them a sample of her DNA. Investigators told her they may compare it to a woman in Michigan to see if there's any connection. Police began looking into this new lead, and so did Target 11. Traveling to Michigan, finding a woman who claims she saw Cherry shortly after the abduction and saying she may still be living in the Michigan area. The woman also told us she contacted Cherry's mom years ago. Janice McKinney told us she got hundreds of tips over the years.
Do I remember that? No. If I did, you know, I would have called the police.
We tracked down the woman the tipster says is Cherry, and she told us she's not. But one thing that did surface was a picture of that woman when she was younger. That's her on the right. Cherry is on the left. Even Janice McKinney was amazed at the remarkable resemblance in this photo and others we showed her.
When I saw this picture, I mean right away, just the smile and her eyebrows. You know, I can see Cherry. I truly can. Is it her? Like I said, I don't know.
Now, police tell me they get tips like this all the time. They check them out to make sure there's no connection to the case. They say they will do the same with this new lead. Of course, we will keep you posted on their progress. Reporting live, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
And we have more on the Mahan case online at WPXI.com. You can watch Rick's story from yesterday when he broke the story, as well as other articles, and see the history of this case.
And tonight, Cherry Mahan's mother is reacting to a Target 11 investigation about a brand new lead in the 26-year-old case of her missing daughter. The 8-year-old girl vanished from a bus stop in front of her Butler County home back in 1985. Well, today, Target 11 investigator Rick Earl sat down with her mother, Janice McKinney, and showed her photographs of a woman in Michigan, a woman police want to talk to after a tip that she may be Cherry. McKinney told Earl that police got a DNA sample from her and said that they may compare that to the woman in Michigan. McKinney broke down as she talked about the new leads that have surfaced during the past 26 years.
Every time somebody thinks that they're her, I want it to be her. But I'm to the point now I just need hard facts. I need somebody to prove to me that this is her or it isn't her.
Police say they are aggressively pursuing this new lead and hope to have some answers very soon.
Tonight, state police now say a woman in Michigan is not the missing girl, Cherry Mahan. We broke this story about a new lead in the case earlier this week, and Target 11 investigator Rick Earl is here now with a closer look at yet another lead that didn't pan out. Rick?
Well, Peggy, this lead ended like all the others. State police still don't know what happened to 8-year-old Cherry Mahan after 26 years. But this time with this lead, we got a much closer look at all of the information because the tipsters came to us too. Now, state police launched an investigation after Target 11 received new information from several sources in Michigan that claimed they spotted Cherry Mahan and that she was now a woman living in Michigan. So we traveled to the state of Michigan to investigate, talk to witnesses, and also track down the woman in question. question. She told us she was not Cherry Mahan. We took all of the information to police, who began an investigation, said they had a lot of questions, and were very interested in DNA evidence to rule her out. Now, with the help of Michigan police, investigators tell me the woman in question today provided a birth certificate, and investigators also went to the school where she graduated and looked at school pictures in her file from as early as kindergarten, confirming that she lived in Michigan then. Now, investigators who initially indicated they wanted DNA now say there's no need for it. The birth certificate and pictures are apparently enough for them to close the book on this new lead. Now, you may also recall that there was another highly publicized lead in this case back in January. Police at the time said someone walked into the Butler barracks with potentially crucial information in this case. I am told tonight that that information didn't pan out either. That is the very latest reporting live in the newsroom. Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
Now to a Target 11 investigation. A 15-year-old girl waiting for a bus vanishes. At first, police suspect she's a runaway. Then the case takes a shocking turn. Tonight, 30 years later, her murder is still unsolved. But as Target 11 investigator Rick Earl discovered, there is a movement by friends and relatives to shed some new light on this old case. Rick?
Peggy, we sat down with one of the original investigators on this case. We got a rare look inside the extensive murder file. And we also talked with friends and relatives who are making sure this case isn't forgotten until it's solved.
Well, 30 years has gone by, and, you know, it's still, to this day, you know, people remember this.
Marty Diamond won't ever forget.
And it traumatized this whole township.
The day 15-year-old Christine Gunther vanished from a bus stop in broad daylight on Route 19 at Donaldson's Crossroads in Peters Township. Days later, on Halloween, her body found in the woods nearby.
It was tragic and scary and a lot of grief.
Diamond didn't know Gunther personally, but he and others who remember the case are now on a crusade to catch a killer. 2 years ago, some friends and classmates got together and launched their own investigation. They came here to the gravesite and placed this arrow that says, "Peters Township remembers, you are not forgotten." Diamond and the others created a Facebook page asking for any information about her disappearance and death.
Got the wheels rolling, got a lot of involvement. We have a lot of people who are dedicated to searching things, searching facts.
I'm overwhelmed. You know, we know Pittsburgh's a wonderful place. We know Pittsburghers are special, but this is above and beyond.
Christine's mother, Carmen, now lives in Florida. I spoke with her during a recent trip to Pittsburgh. You had never imagined in your wildest dreams that this would go on for more than 30 years.
Never, never. No, my God, my wildest dreams are my wildest nightmares.
Our cameras were also invited inside as the family met with Allegheny County Police to reopen the file. Investigators telling them they continue reviewing the case, working every angle. Investigators also showed us photos taken the day Christine's body was found and notes and drawings made by detectives decades ago, indicating the cause of death as blunt force trauma to the head.
We had a few suspects, but nothing really panned out as far as prosecution-wise.
In memory of the 30th anniversary of Christine's death, friends and relatives are putting up a billboard near the site of her disappearance, hoping someone will come forward with information leading to the killer.
We're not going to give up until somebody is, you know, either brought to justice or you know, we have somebody that we think did it.
Friends have a host of events planned this weekend, beginning with a memorial service Saturday morning and the unveiling of that billboard you saw in the story on Monday morning. They will also be handing out this flyer with her picture asking the simple question, "Do you know who murdered me?" Reporting live, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
And if you would like to learn more about this case, we have posted the entire interviews, all the interviews with police and with Christine's mother on our website at WPXI.com. There is a new push tonight to find a killer, a woman brutally raped and suffocated more than 2 decades ago. The killer has never been found.
Target 11 investigator Rick Earl with new developments in a case that rocked a small community. Rick?
David, Peggy, there's a possible explanation why after all these years this case remains unsolved. And that has more to do with Mother Nature than anything else. But tonight the hope is that cold, hard cash will convince anyone to come forward with information about the killer.
Allegheny County homicide detectives are on.
December 6, 1986.
Because we have 3 small kids, so if you attacked her.
36-year-old Carol Kressick's nude body bound and gagged in her East Pittsburgh apartment sexually assaulted and suffocated.
I'm standing in front of Carol Kresick's residence. Still no suspect in her murder.
Brings back some very sad memories.
Nearly 25 years later, we return to the scene of the crime with this man, a close friend of Kresick's, who's now offering a $10,000 reward.
Someone that deserves every measure of justice.
He's on a crusade to catch a killer. He launched a website seeking information, convinced America's Most Wanted to feature the story on their website. And for the very first time, he's talking about the case and the reward only to Target 11.
My wife and I thought about it and decided together that it was a good idea, and to bring perhaps this to a closure.
Remember that it was a very brutal murder, and it was something that didn't happen a lot in this community.
East Pittsburgh Police Chief Lori Payne grew up in this neighborhood, was in the 5th grade at the time of the murder. Kresick was single and lived alone. Payne took us behind the Ridge Avenue apartment and showed us the killer's escape route.
He came up this path here and straight up into a street there in North Braddock and virtually disappeared at that time.
No sign of the killer after that?
No.
We've been close a few times. We talked to 2 different suspects on this, and we thought we had them at one time. But
Allegheny County Police Assistant Superintendent James Morton reopened the extensive file for us.
You can see how large the case file is itself. There's hundreds of interviews in here.
Morton took us step by step through the case. It began when a neighbor called 911 after hearing a scream. When police arrived, the killer was still inside Kresick's apartment.
When they made entry, a neighbor called and said that the actor was exiting out the back window.
So they were that close to catching this person.
They missed him by minutes.
But the investigation took an unfortunate turn in 1996 when floodwaters backed up in the crime lab, destroying most of the evidence.
We had that evidence today. I think we could solve a good majority of these cold cases.
I can't imagine anyone doing something that evil, but obviously they're still out there.
Now, with advances in DNA testing during the past decade, Morton believes this case and about a dozen others would have been solved by now if that evidence hadn't been contaminated in the flood of '96. Now, these cold cases are occasionally reopened and reviewed by detectives to see if they missed anything the first time around. Right now, investigators are in the middle of their 3rd review of the Kresick case. And of course, with this reward out there, we'll let you know if anything develops. Reporting live, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
A shocking crime in a quiet neighborhood. An elderly woman found stabbed to death with strange carvings on her back.
18 years later, the killer is still out there. Target 11 investigator Rick Earl has reopened this cold case. Rick?
Well, Peggy, this case continues to baffle investigators. It's been 18 years since the 74-year-old woman was found murdered in her apartment in Arnold. Nothing taken, no motive, no suspects. The only possible clue, a strange symbol left on her back. 74-year-old Stephanie Coyle, retired and widowed, lived alone in this apartment in Arnold. It was behind this window in the bedroom where she was found stabbed to death a dozen times 18 years ago.
This is truly one of the most brutal killings I have ever experienced in my role as a forensic pathologist.
On her back, possibly the only clue. Dr. Cyril Wecht found a strange carving, done he suspects with a knife after the killing. Does that symbol mean anything to you?
Suggests some kind of a symbol.
Her landlord found her on the floor next to the bed. That marking on her back, a circle 21 by 14, with a vertical line 25 inches long right through the middle.
This was the final message. Could even be, some kind of an initiation ritual.
Still hard to believe that somebody can do that to anybody. And here it is, my own mother.
Dan Coyle tells me his mother spent her days volunteering at the local senior citizen center, her nights bowling or playing bingo.
We went through our minds hundreds of times trying to see if she has any enemies. We couldn't come up with one person. The big question is why. We still don't have an answer after all these years.
I always said when I started in '81 working here that I'd never let the job become personal. This is personal.
Arnold police officer Willie Weber is the lead investigator. He responded to the scene of the crime in July of 1993.
There was items in the house that a normal burglar would have took. No ransacking of the apartment whatsoever.
There wasn't a fight.
It looked like she kind of surrendered, said, "Do what you want to do and leave me alone and get out of here."
Weber opened the case file for us, showed us pictures of the apartment taken on the day of the murder 18 years ago.
In this bedroom right here?
Correct.
Over the years, Weber has interviewed dozens, including people attending a party at a neighbor's home. At one point, Weber thought he had a solid suspect, but it didn't pan out. Coyle's DNA has been entered into the national database, but so far no hits. As for the symbol carved on her back, Weber says even the FBI profilers had trouble figuring it out.
We have not been able to characterize it to any one group.
Nobody could really make any sense of that symbol, the circle with the line.
Correct.
Coyle's son hasn't given up hope. Every year around the time of the murder, he posts flyers in Arnold, offering a $10,000 reward.
Trying to keep people not to forget about it. Just need that one tip. It'll never ever go away, even if it is solved, but that would help.
Now, as for that marking on the back, investigators say there's a possibility that the killer was startled and never completed the message, or they say the killer may have just been trying to throw off investigators by making it look like something it was not. Reporting live in the newsroom, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.